Yep, peace again. I don't know, man. It's like a plague. It's like dumb shit is spawning and it's turning into a virus and it's spreading all over the internet. And it's like one dummy will say something, then another dummy feel like they gotta say something. It's like a chain reaction of dumb shit that we gotta address. And again, I really do apologize because some of y'all, I'm really making your Ramadan, you know, difficult right now. But it's like we getting war ready. Y'all need to go read Surah 9, the immunity. Have you all noticed that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan ain't even been giving us the greetings and open up like he usually open up at his lectures? The minister's saying there's no more time for diplomatic language. We don't have no time for diplomatic language. And diplomatic language is the result of diplomatic thought. So we got to stop thinking so diplomatic and start thinking wartime. Now this particular dude, for real, are you kidding me? This dude got a YouTube channel, and the name of his YouTube channel is Malcolm's Revenge. Now, here we go. Malcolm's Revenge. And this particular clown, is talking about we done with Farrakhan. We done with Farrakhan. Who is this dude? Where did he come from? What is his motive? He done sat down and made a video and posted it underneath a channel, Malcolm's Revenge. And he's saying we're done with Farrakhan. So before I even get at this dude, I just want y'all to check this out. Okay, just check this out real quick. Then y'all at least know what I'm talking about. All right, check this out.
I'm back again. And this time I have a message for Minister Louis Farrakhan. Guess what, Minister Farrakhan? We're done with you too.
No, wait. I know I'm supposed to be playing all this in its entirety. But do you see how whack this dude look? This dude is doing a video. I'm gonna say it again. This dude is doing a video talking about he's done. We done with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We done. He done. Who is he speaking for? It's done with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We done with you. For real? Who is you, man? Is you the FBI? You the CIA? Man, who did? Okay. All right. I'll let you. I'll finish.
When I say we're done with you, I don't mean that we're not going to show up for your Justice or Else 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. Oh, we're going to be there. In fact, we're going to be there in even greater numbers than showed up in 1995 on the 16th of October for the Million Man March. But what we are not there to do is listen to yet another one of your speeches.
For real? For real. Serious.
Back in 1995, black people came to Washington, millions of them. 2 million, you claim. You showed up, you delivered your speech, and then you left. Later that evening, you appeared on the Larry King Live show on CNN. You left black people with no program other than go back to your communities, join an organization, mentor a child, etc. This was not what you had told black people the Million Man March was going to be about. You devoted your whole speech in 1995, most of it, to boring your audience to tears with conspiracy theories about the Masonic layout of Washington, D.C., theories or not. You spent a great deal of the rest of your sermon talking about the 8 steps of atonement and giving us the whole etymology of the meaning of the word atone. Nowhere did you mention reparations. Nowhere did you mention the justice issues that you had stated in the men-only meetings leading up to the Million Man March were going to be the purpose of the Million Man March. So you betrayed the promises that you made.
Okay, I'm gonna be real careful with this because I don't want to go too far. And it's really not about this dude who's talking. I don't even know who this is. He sounds like he's from Britain, London. I don't even think he went to the Million Man March. Who was this dude? The leather coat, the V-neck. I mean, what is this all? Malcolm's Revenge. I don't understand what this is. But let me explain something to you. First of all, you say the minister betrayed the people. And he said, and you make mockery of the 8 steps of atonement, when he instructed the brothers and sisters, the brothers, to go home and take care of their families, get their domestic situation under control, join certain organizations. First of all, you have to understand the time that the Million Man March was taking place. The government, Bill Clinton, recently came out and admitted that what? That he put so many black men in prison at that time. This was coming out of George Bush's tenure in the riots, the Rodney King riots. This is also at a time that the so-called Jews were reinventing hip-hop and taking the conscious element out of hip-hop in 1995 and beginning to introduce this gangster and this more thuggish type of version of hip-hop to further divide our people. The minister spoke on how there were armies and tanks underneath the city, underneath the ground of Washington, D.C., ready for us to cut a fool. He brought black men together for the first time. These are young men, old men, light skinned, dark skinned, and all the shades in between. Brothers from the east, the west, the north, and south. Not to mention how many brothers wanted to be in the march or be at the march that's locked up or incarcerated. How many people in other countries wanted to go to D.C.? What it was a demonstration letting the world know that the black man is not savage and that we can come together under one common cause. And the minister gave us instructions that if we followed would allow us or prevent us from falling in Satan's trap. You talk about reparations. Y'all niggas is always talking about reparations. Because the only thing you want to do is you want to ask the white man to give you something. You want to petition the white man to give you reparations. And you ain't doing nothing with your chips right now. You ain't part of no organization. You ain't part of no liberation movement. You ain't giving nothing to the widows and the orphans. You ain't going into the byways and the highways dealing with none of the gangsters. You ain't going to juvenile centers. You ain't going to job corps. You ain't going nowhere. The homeless people, the homeless, the sick, the shut in. You ain't helping nobody do a goddamn thing, but you want reparations. Injustice. Most of the injustices that we suffer, people have a green light to attack the black man because we are not united, that we remain divided. So the call for the minister, number one, was to unite all of this family that has been fighting and splintered for past 400 years. To bring us together and show the world that we are not savage and then we can unite. So when you say the 8 steps of atonement and you make mockery of the 8 steps of atonement, these 8 steps can stop gang banging. This can put an end to set beefs. Long time set beefs where you had a gang of Crips and different generations of Crips banging against different generations of Bloods. Vice Lords and El Rukins, the Latin Kings, we all fighting and killing one another. This is long time pain and suffering within our community. And the minister called us all together and said, settle your differences and let's come together and unite as one in the midst of a plot to destroy and kill black people. You don't understand. The call to the Million Man March in 1995 made white people, specifically the Congress and the Senate, and Bill Clinton and his Jewish boys, they had to recalibrate their plan because they had a plan that was going to lead black people wholesale into the penitentiary, into the graveyard. We slowed that up. But more than that, we showed them that they have to take the black man serious in America, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We put in motion, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan set in motion a consequence that will be met 10-10-15. And you an agent and you a hypocrite and you some type of FBI agent, you're paid to do what you're doing because you understand that the march was not the end in 2000 and in 1995. It was the beginning. And all of that, when it came to the Million Family March, the Millions More movement, and the minister came with that purple book, which was the agenda, and it broke down. I wish I had my book here. showing you the agenda. So a whole agenda was written out for black people. You say he didn't give you a program. We've been giving you a program. The program was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan delivering a word to the people from the mind of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who has the only program for the black man and woman in America. But you all are not ready for that. You weren't ready for that program. So the minister wants everybody to go and join the program that you believe in, and let's see how that works for you. Meanwhile, Satan is going to beat the hell out of black people. The fiery serpents will be released because the minister started teaching and teaching and teaching. And what has happened is, because of the Million Man March and that display, the minister was able to get up and go all over the country and make friendship for us. And you don't know how significant, well, you do because you're an FBI agent. But most people don't understand how significant and how important it was for the minister to have these royal friendship tours, because he has connected our nation with other nations throughout the planet. And this is the first time in history that has been done. So when you mock the 8 steps of atonement, you old buster, straight clown. You just gotta be a sellout nigga for real. And you ain't even from America. But what has destroyed our people is the Willie Lynch syndrome. And we don't know how to go to our people and communicate and talk to them and say, I'm sorry for doing you harm or doing you wrong. There's long time generational resentment in families, in communities, and we don't know how to go and settle our differences. And the minister came up and he knew he had all these people from various walks of life. And we know that Satan was waiting to draw down on all of us. And we weren't prepared to fight. We have to be called into an organization. Quit being so goddamn emotional. You wasn't ready to fight that white man. So what should the minister do? The minister should have said, we want reparations or else. Or else what? Half the people in the audience wasn't ready to do the or else. Just like in 10-10-15. We want the soldiers to show up. We want the real courageous soldiers. So when the minister say justice or else, the people in the audience ain't cowards, ain't faggots, ain't busters. They gonna say yeah or else. Straight like that. But we have to be organized and we have to be structured. And the minister is calling us into a united power mechanism that will put pressure on the United States government and Barack Obama to start fixing some of these ailments that are affecting our people. It ain't about no damn reparations. What we gonna get? $15,000 a piece? $20,000 a piece? That ain't nothing. If we just do the 3-year economic blueprint, we don't need the white man to give us a goddamn thing. So he has to pull us together again and begin to strategically implement ways and methods that we can secure justice or else. But you don't want that to happen because you're a sucker and you're a buster and you're full of that white juice. So make mockery of the 8 steps of atonement. Make mockery when the minister was breaking down the layout of the city. What he was trying to show you, the Messianic reality, right? The biblical reality that the black man is in America and we are the chosen people of God and we are in fact God, and all of this stuff is happening within a structured or preordained or predetermined way. And all we have to do is accept our own and be ourselves and follow instructions and organize. And we'll be effective because the universe, God, Allah is all on our side. If we atone with one another and seek God's face and stop doing bullshit to one another, learn how to say sorry, ask for forgiveness, and open up the lines of communication, destroy jealousy and envy. But obviously, wherever you from, you didn't get the message. So let's finish. I really want to keep on hearing what you got to say.
But black people let that slide. The following year, you came back to New York City, this time, to the United Nations, and you delivered an address billed as, Can the United Nations Avert the War of Armageddon? More speech giving, more talk. You then went into the United Nations building and gave a press briefing, and then left. You never spent any time meeting with United Nations ambassadors of the countries that you'd visited on the 26-nation tour that you embarked upon following the Million Man March. You spent no time rounding up support within the United Nations corridors for bringing a reparations bill before the General Assembly and the Security Council. You gave a press conference and you left. The following year, you embarked on a 52-nation vacation, because that's all it was. You call it a 52-nation World Friendship Tour. You did go to 52 countries. You met with all kinds of heads of state. And yet, what did you do? Did you secure any commitments from those heads of state to bring the plight of African Americans before the United Nations? Nope. Did you secure the commitment from any of those heads of state to support the Muslim program in bringing that program before the UN? No. You spent a lot of time in world capitals, a lot of time with photo ops. You told people about how you were treated like a head of state, and yet you don't have the works of a head of state to show for it. You have been the leader of the Nation of Islam for 37 years, and in that time, besides building mosques and selling newspapers and a salam restaurant and staging events and giving speeches, what else do you have to show for it? You came back to Washington, D.C. in the year 2000 in an event that was co-hosted with Reverend Sun Myung Moon of the Unification Church. You delivered the keynote address. More talk, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then you left. 5 years after that, you're back again with the the Millions More movement. Another speech. More blah, 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 more talking. You talked about ministries that you wanted black people to form. And yet, you never reach out to the heads of state, the friendship in all walks of life with which you say Allah has blessed you. What is the use, Minister Farrakhan, of having friendship in every capital across the globe, in knowing heads of state like a Mugabe of Zimbabwe, or a Rouhani of Iran, or a Gaddafi when he was still alive? You met Nelson Mandela. You met Jerry Rawlings. You met President Saddam Hussein when he was still alive. You met President Hafez al-Assad and his son Bashar al-Assad. You've met with all the heads of state, practically, of the Arab League, of the Organization of the Islamic Conference, and of the African Union. But you have never leveraged your relationships with those leaders to deliver anything in front of the Security Council on behalf of your people. And so in 2015, black people are not coming to Washington, D.C. to be subjected to yet another one of your long-winded and tiresome speeches. We are done with that. We are all speeched out. You need to be reminded, Minister Farrakhan, that black people are not your servant. You are our servant. And between now, the holy month of Ramadan Mubarak, by the way, and October, we don't want to see your face on the Breakfast Club or on the Cliff Kelly show. We're sick and tired of you doing interviews and giving speeches when the place that you should be doing your speaking is on the phone. We want you to ring up every head of state of the African Union, of the Arab League, of the Organization of the Islamic Conference, of the Organization of the American States, and we want you to secure their support in bringing the plight of African Americans before the United Nations, as Malcolm X was attempting to do 50 years ago when he was murdered by the Nation of Islam and with your complicity. I'm going to leave the question of your complicity in Malcolm's assassination for another time. That is something that you are going to have to answer for in due course. But the Million Man March on the 10th of October later this year is an event of such importance and of such potential magnitude that we need to perhaps put to one side issues like the assassination of Malcolm X for now. But make no mistake about it. If you're acquainted with the Malcolm's Revenge YouTube channel, we have systematically documented the role that you played in Malcolm's murder, the role that your buddy Abdul Karim Muhammad Linwood ex-Cathcart played, the role that John Ali, the National Secretary of the Nation of Islam at the time of Elijah Muhammad, played. He showed up. He showed his face at Savior's Day this year. A man who was directly involved in the assassination of Malcolm X was rubbing shoulders with you and your cohorts. You don't even have any shame in flaunting your relationship with murderers like John Ali. Perhaps because you are as guilty of the same crime as he perpetrated. But let's put those differences to one side. We expect to see results when we show up in Washington, D.C. And don't make me remind you of the pledge or of what you told us back in 1991 in a speech entitled, "The Black Man Must Do for Self or Suffer the Consequences." This was a speech that you delivered in Chicago. And during that speech, remember these words that you spoke?
And I'm saying this to you, brothers and sisters. When I stood up to do this work, I took an oath. And on that oath, I offered my life. That if I ever sold out the mission of the rise of my people, that I give my life that the FOI should kill me, the fruit of Islam. And there's one standing right behind me, my son, who loves his father, but if his father turned back on the mission, he'll be the first to take his life. I trained him that way.
You remember those words, don't you, Minister Farrakhan? Well, 2015 is the year in which we are going to hold you to those words. You said that if you ever sell out the mission of the rise of black people, the FOI, the Fruit of Islam, have orders in hand as to what to do with you. We as black people have given you our marching orders. We expect an announcement in October of what you have accomplished between now and October. And if you do not have anything to announce, we will decide and we will conclude that you have indeed sold out the mission, with everything that entails.
Yeah, Betty?
Mr. X, since you're split with the Black Muslim movement, have you formed your own group?
Yes.
And also, you say that you don't believe that Martin Luther King has solutions. What are your solutions?
Well, first, we formed two groups. The split resulted in the formation of two groups. Those who left the Black Muslim movement regrouped into what has now become known as the Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which is strictly religious, based upon the religion as it is taught in Mecca and Cairo and other centers of Islamic religious learning. Then realizing that our problem in America, that we are black Americans and we have a problem that goes beyond religion, we formed a group known as the Organization of Afro-American Unity. And the objective of this organization, it's non-religious, number one. Any Negro can belong to it. And the objective of that organization is to bring about a condition that will guarantee respect and recognition of the 22 million black Americans as human beings.
Now, this is very laudable, but how?
Well, by any means necessary. we feel that the problem, number one, of the black man in America is beyond America's ability to solve. It's a human problem, not an American problem or a Negro problem. And as a human problem or a world problem, we feel that it should be taken out of the jurisdiction of the United States government and the United States courts and taken into the United Nations in the same manner that the problems of the black man in South Africa, Angola, and other parts of the world, and even the way they're trying to bring the problems of the Jews in Russia into the United Nations because of violation of human rights. We believe that our problem is one not of violation of civil rights, but a violation of human rights. Not only are we denied the right to be a citizen in the United States, we're denied the right to be a human being.
All right. Now we get to the meat of it, which is very, very serious. And I want you to pay attention to some of the things that this dude has said, because now you get into the motives of the whole thing when you start getting into Malcolm X and what he said about the minister being complicit. And he plays a tape or a recording of the instructions Minister Farrakhan gave the nation in the FOI in terms of him selling out the aspirations of black folks. See, this is a low key. This ain't even a low key. This is a threat. So I'm gonna be very careful. First of all, there's a flaw in your thinking. Minister Louis Farrakhan is a divine man. He's not a politician. So he doesn't go around from state to state, country to country, acting as a politician. He's delivering a word to the leaders of these particular countries that you name. He's speaking to these individuals and he's giving them wisdom behind the scenes that he has received from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Messenger's teachings. And he's speaking to them, warning them about America and the coming times. And he gave these so-called friends, heads of state, instructions. He was not going to make a deal. And whatever deal, if he was making a deal, and even if he solidified a deal, the minister don't deliver what he has to say on your terms. Now, you're saying something about the United Nations. This is another flaw in your thinking. Even Malcolm X, in this clip that you just played, he's saying it's not an American problem. This is a world human problem. So we feel like we should take this situation or the American so-called Negroes issues to the United Nations. The United Nations is a United States organization. The whole organization is set up. The United Nations is set up to all America has to do is veto anything that's put on the floor. We don't have the power, the unity, the agreed upon agenda to go to the United Nations, set out an outline without other segments of our organization or our black people in America coming right behind us saying, well, I disagree with Minister Louis Farrakhan. I disagree with Malcolm X. Should we have our own separate state and territory? And then you got other Negroes coming right behind saying, no, we don't want to separate. We want to integrate. We don't want justice. All we want is a few jobs. We want you to expand expand the, what is that? The Civil Rights Bill and different Negro policies that gives black people an opportunity to continue their schooling, jobs, affirmative action. We need jobs. So the minister is coming from a divine, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad perspective. And the only program is the program of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But unfortunately, Negroes in America don't want that program. We don't want to go for self. We don't want to get our own state and territory. We don't want to create our own education. We don't want to create our own economy. We don't want to separate from this beast. So the minister goes up in the United Nations and speaks. And then half of you sell-out ass niggas behind his back start writing letters and making videos and doing backdoor meetings, undercutting what it is he's throwing down on the people. America, black people in America are splintered with so many different ideologies and school of thought that we have to be organized in order to have an effective push for justice. Because more than anything, we're asking for justice. So now, the minister is teaching us every time he lectures to get our homes and get our houses and get ourselves in order. Clean ourselves up. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. Stop beating our wives. Stop worrying about working for white folk and go get your own business. Do for self. Stop selling drugs. Stop gang banging. Come out of her. Start thinking. Look at the world scene. Look who controls hip-hop. Look who's controlling the monetary system. Look who is responsible for slavery and how that affects us in this modern time. These are the consistent legacies or speeches that has been given to us, which is the legacy of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to get our minds right. But niggas like you just want the white folks to give us something, but we're not prepared to make them give us something. So the minister said that blood must rise to the horse's bridle, that the fiery serpents must be let loose against our people so that we will have a cry of, we can't deal with white folks no more. We need to separate and come from out of her. But you talking about going to the United Nations. You talking about going to the heads of state. The same heads of state. He's going to warn them because he knows the connection between these heads of state and America. And he knows that they're doing bidding with one another. And he's going behind closed door and he's letting them know, thus says the Lord, that your agreement with Satan and America shall not and will not stand. And as soon as that happens, he's giving instructions to Gaddafi and what's happening with Gaddafi. He's giving instructions about Mandela and to Mandela and what happened. He's giving instructions to Saddam Hussein and what's happening. See, you can go and talk to heads of state and you can ask the heads of state to support you. And then the heads of state can come out and say, yes, Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan, will support you, but this right here, these are the terms of our agreement. We'll help you if you do this, and this. And the minister being a man of integrity, and he don't go with his hat in his hand, he can say, listen, we need your friendship, we need your support, but not at this. We don't carry guns. We're not going to be no third wing, or attack squad for any country that has a problem with America. Because the minister is a wise man. So he can go to Mugabe. He can go to Sudan. He can go to Zimbabwe. He can go to Ethiopia. He can go to all these different countries and say, listen, man, I know what's going on. Because the Lord of the worlds has shown me your heart and shown me your agreement. And your agreement with Satan and America, which is one and the same, will not stand. So behind closed doors, he's going to say what he has to say to these people. He ain't went to make no deal. This ain't no plea agreement. Ain't no plea of bargain. This is the man of God. This is the man who represents mercy, and there's a time limit connected to Minister Louis Farrakhan. And every single one of these individuals that you think he should have made a deal with is no longer on the scene. They got smashed out. By who? By America. You don't make no goddamn agreement with the United Nations. The United Nations is America. And if you go address the United Nations, it's just so you can have, as you call the photo op, an opportunity on record that the God has warned the countries and told the countries and the nations of the earth that their time is up. That their agreement with Satan will not and cannot stand. He ain't going talking like some nigga that you are. Oh, give us a chance, give us some hope, give us some help, give us a handout. We ain't asking for shit from America. We're giving them an ultimatum. Listen, if you want peace, if you want an extension of time, deal justly with the 40 million or more black people in the wilderness of North America. Because what you're doing is foul and satanic. And so we have to warn you, because every nation that is to be destroyed off the face of the planet must first have a clear warning. We ain't making no goddamn deals. What the Minister Louis Farrakhan look like walking around asking for something from these suckers who can't even feed their own children? These suckers is having an agreement with the United States of America, and the United States of America is pimping these third world countries like $3 hoes, and Mr. Louis Farrakhan is supposed to get all these people in a line and hold their hands and then go beg America for something. No, the minister is the messenger of Allah, and in reality he's the Messiah of Allah, and he's throwing down, and you're not ready for the truth of Allah. Black man and black woman, Minister Louis Farrakhan is giving us a chance to clean up, because when Allah's wrath comes down, if we're not right and exact, Allah will kill us too. So quit acting like you're ready for war. And quit acting like you're ready to give an ultimatum. That's the minister's job. And if we don't get our act together, if we don't get our ass together, if we don't clean up, if we don't come together as a people and get rid of you suckers and sellouts, Allah will continue to whoop our ass, bringing hail, snow, rain, and earthquakes. And the minister's going to be all right. You're trying to tell us what the minister should do, that he should go to these heads of state. These niggas ain't the heads of nothing. They ain't nothing but puppet regimes propped up. They're hypocrites. They don't even believe in this. So you don't know how to minister. Talk to these people behind closed doors. Can you help us? Will you do this? No, the minister closed the door and gave him the business. And he's supposed to come out now and have a press conference and tell the rest of you niggas and the devils that he just had to check these niggas. No, he's getting at them like a don. Mr. Louis Farrakhan is a don. He's the boss of all bosses. And the only boss above him is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad. Period. But you don't understand that. So this is what you do, man. You better hope we ain't done with you. Continue to make your videos. Now you're going to say something about Minister Farrakhan is complicit. See, that's that devil Satan stuff. See, this is what it is. The propaganda has to come out. See, just as the minister gains momentum on 10-10-15, see, now the floods of propaganda, y'all going to come up and you're going to bring up Malcolm X and you're going to bring up all this other stuff to try to vilify the minister. You're doing the work of Satan. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to turn the people. So the people in 2000 and 1995, they were saying, Hosanna, Hosanna, long live Muhammad, long live Farrakhan Muhammad. But 20 years later, you want to tell them the people against the minister so that the minister will say, so they will say to the minister, crucify him. See, this is the day of judgment in which we now live. And you're the first wave of nigger propaganda. And you're being paid. See, listen, 310-625-099. I'm at your ass. You don't threaten the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Are you kidding me? The shit you saying? You got it twisted. You remember this, whatever you think you are, Mr. Malcolm's Revenge. I know you're doing the work of your Satan father. I know you. I know your father. You's a sucker, like I said before, and you're full of that whack juice. But this is what you're going to do. As America is beating the hell out of black people, and the only voice that's wise enough to bring us together and give us clear instructions is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And if they can separate the people from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, see, they can't do nothing to the minister. Then if they can separate, then they feel like they have a direct target or a direct route to the people. And so they want to sever the connection because ain't never one of you niggas got anything in your mind that can organize the people and lead them down the right road. So they want to separate the minister from the people so that the people then will be sitting ducks and they can be plucked off one by one. The brothers and sisters who's really down with the minister, see, the disciples will turn into apostles. See, you didn't factor the lions being let out the cage. See, there's more than one Farrakhan. See, and he ain't turning against the aspiration. You say, what did the minister do since 1995? Well, I got out the penitentiary in 1995, and you know one thing that the minister did since 1995? He made me. So he can claim me, put me on the resume of his achievement. And I'm pretty proud of what I'm doing, and you ain't seen nothing yet. And there's brothers and sisters like me all over the planet Earth that's waiting, that's itching for a chance to deal with you suckers and busters. See, we know about the mother plane 40 miles high. Y'all make mockery. White folks know. We know about the baby planes. We know what's going on. And we know the tricks and the deception and the propaganda that your Satan daddy is getting you to spew. And this is just the first step. So you want to talk about the minister's personal life. You want to bring up Malcolm X because the people love Malcolm X. And so when the minister calls us and give us the right example or the right guidance and tells us to come into the bosom of Allah, they'll reject him because of the propaganda that you spewing about Malcolm. Let me make this clear, sucker. You ain't going to do shit to the minister. So don't even do. First of all, you speaking on behalf of the FBI, the CIA, and the Mossad. Let's keep that 100. So you remember this. You ain't gonna do shit to the minister. 310-625-0999. Put my phone number in the tracking device and holler at me. But we are not gonna stand down on you in this foolishness. And anybody who's giving you ear, that's just how whack it is. Now you're gonna bring down in 2015. You want to bring up Malcolm X? And you want to post pictures and the minister is complacent with the death of Malcolm X. And so after the march, you're going to do what? Man, you speaking for the government, man. You're planting seeds Woe to every slander. You're casting evil suggestions in a firm resolution. You whisper into the hearts of men. But the lines out the cage is defenders of the brand. And we see that shit. And we ain't answering it. And we answering it. And what I'm asking from all of you all is for you not to fall victim to the snake bite and the propaganda. See, in Revelations, the dragon was seeking to get the mother who was with child, baby Jesus. And when they realized they couldn't get to the mother, they stopped and aimed all their attention on the child. So when the mother delivered the child, 10-10-15. When the mother delivers the young baby nation, 10-10-15. See, that's the due date. And when it comes out, they can't get to the mother. They can't get to the minister. So they're going to turn all of their flood of propaganda on the children to sever the connection between the mother and the children and make everybody forsake and say, crucify the man of God. That's a wolf. Don't let these devils and these imps and these peons run that bullshit on you, black people. Remember, disciples, you have to watch and pray. Don't fall asleep on your post. We're supposed to beat prophecy. One way we can beat prophecy. At the crucifixion, there was 5 Marys and 1 John. Well, how about if there's 5 Johns and 1 Mary? Get your ass to DC and don't fall for the snake bite. And if you got a problem with the minister calling Young Thug and calling Kanye and calling Dame Dash and calling CO, y'all some bullshit, because these people have followings and we're here to win the game. This is a patient-oriented strategic war. Don't allow suckers and busters to twist up the game. Now, I got a lot to say. Oh, yeah, I got a lot to say. And get your ass in shape. Put some weight on it. This is what I'm trying to ask you to do. Get it right. Because now the propaganda is going to come out. Because as he picks up momentum and he makes this announcement tomorrow in Washington, D.C., the government now has to make the people reject his call by bringing up his past, bringing up his personal life, taking a little bit of truth, mixing it and wrapping it up with a whole bunch of wicked falsehood to get the people to bite. It's our job to make sure when Pontius Pilate puts the Jesus in front of the people, that the people will not say crucify him, but will say long live Muhammad. We can change this history if we get up off our ass and go to work. And for any of you suckers on Facebook who's talking all this shit against the minister, look, man, stop agreeing with your enemy. Even if you have a personal problem with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, ask yourself, why are you saying the same shit that white people are saying? Why are you banging the same cause? You're on the same team as O'Reilly, Hannity, and all the rest of these, Rush Limbaugh, and all the rest of these punk ass. Dude, get to the march, defend the minister. Your life depends on it. You don't understand what's going on. You're not that goddamn smart. We just waking up. The minister knows what he's doing. He's wise and he's being guided by God. And it'll be in your best interest and your family's best interest is if you put down that Negro shit and get into some God thinking. If we have philosophical differences, that's cool. If we have belief differences in different agendas, that's cool. But one thing about it, we are not going to sell out the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan 10-10-15. And if you got something negative to say against the minister and you're banging on him while he's trying to say justice for else, you got to check yourself. You got to check yourself. Now, this is not a warning. This is not even a threat. This is just something for y'all to think about. Lines out the cage, LOTC, Highway 31, all roads lead to DC. Peace.